who has attended and is watching this presentation. I know there's a lot of awesome speakers at the summit, and I hope you have learned something from each and every single one of them. I know hopefully there's a lot more awesome speakers and tricks and tips that you can implement in your business to come. So again, today we're talking specifically about some frameworks for Amazon issue resolution and how to actually go about task delegation. We will briefly touch on as well how to go and build your expert team. But ultimately, all this is with the idea that we want to take back control of our time and ultimately our Amazon business, right? There's this kind of interesting thing that happens when you're selling on Amazon, where you find yourself actually spending a ton of time building your business and maybe doing things that you should not be necessarily doing, or wasting tons of countless hours on the phone with seller support, whatever it may be. So we're going to try to address some of those in this presentation today. So let's dive in. So real quick, I will tell you guys a little bit about SellerCandy just to get that out of the way here. But SellerCandy, essentially what we do is we act as the expert operations arm of your Amazon business. So we specifically work with Amazon sellers of all different sizes. We also work with agencies and aggregators and kind of everything in between. But ultimately, we kind of like to say we make the bold claim of we want to make it so that you never have to talk to seller support again, right? So we deal with kind of all the nitty gritty, annoying stuff that comes up when you're selling on Amazon. Here really quick is our menu of services. I'll leave it up for a second here. You can screenshot this if you want, but these are some of the typical types of issues that we assist with, right? A lot of this is going to be things like inactive listings, account health, etc. All right. So again, who am I? My name is Ben Smith, head of sales and marketing at SellerCandy, as I mentioned. However, I also like to say, I still keep my toes dipped in the water. I am still an Amazon seller. I'm not a big whale or big fish out there, but I am still a multiple six-figure Amazon business owner. I currently spend a lot of time today still working in the KDP and print on demand space. But I've been in Amazon and kind of the e-commerce world for 6+ years. So I have done and seen a lot. I've worked for brands. I've worked for agencies, managing, different kinds of brands at all different sizes and their ad campaigns. And today I get to talk to a lot of businesses and really work with them to kind of help them grow and scale and get back into the owner position instead of the operator position, right? So I have a really fun job, and this is a great part of it is I get to show up and talk on these summits and meet awesome people like you. So anyway, that was a little bit about me, but let's get to the important stuff. So what are we going over today? So in part one, we're going to actually talk about the framework. So the exact framework that our team uses to resolve issues as they come up within the Amazon selling journey, right? I'm actually going to do kind of a live demo of a very common set of issues to give you some context and how you can actually go and run with this framework, implement it in your business as well. And then in kind of part 2 and 3, we're really going to address the whole creating space and time in your business, right? So getting out of that kind of operator position, getting out of just being the one working in the trenches constantly and back into being an owner, right? So that you can get your time back and really focus on the things that you do best, which is normally going to be scaling your business or finding new products to launch or whatever it may be, right? We're also going to talk a little bit about how to actually identify the specific things that you should delegate or should go and build a team for to delegate to, and some of those things maybe that you want to keep in-house. So we will touch on that as well. And at the very end, I will give you an exclusive offer. So we do have a new product offering that's going to give you access to our team. I'm really excited to talk about. So make sure you hang out towards the end. I will briefly go over that as well. So I just like to start by just kind of giving a reminder, well, really 4 reminders here, because whether you're new to Amazon or you've been selling for a while, at some point it can kind of be easy to forget these things, right? A lot of us did not start Amazon to wake up, I like to say every morning or on a Friday afternoon to deal with that email that is a performance notification and start pulling our hair out, right? We don't want to constantly be fixing problems. Selling on Amazon, it's not about grinding 24/7, right? You should not be always working. Certainly there is a point in time where you need to be doing that, but we wanted to leverage the Amazon system to really help us, right? So we don't have to work 24/7. There's also not a secret marketing tactic, right? We know that we're learning in this summit from a lot of awesome, amazing people, a bunch of different things and ideas that we can implement and add to our toolkit, but there's no one-hit wonder. There's no one simple thing that's a silver bullet that's going to resolve all issues. And last but not least, as you think about growing and scaling your team to kind of take some of this work off your plate, just remember that, you should not have a complex or complicated hiring and training system. Ultimately, you want to be able to have a very streamlined, easy, ideally lean business that's going to be able to grow rapidly and scale with you, and hopefully not break down if you're not there, right? So now that we've got all that stuff out of the way, let's dive in here. So part one. So first, we're going to talk about kind of the framework for solving Seller Central issues, right? This is going to, we like to say, give you the ability to solve issues much faster. And it's, better than you creating kind of an intricate system and really just wasting tons and tons of hours kind of grinding on your own. When you walk away from this, my aim is that you have this framework, you can take it and just give it to your team or implement for yourself. But ultimately, it is going to be very broad so that it can be applied across the board to any issues and even updates or changes to Amazon down the road. So let's look at an example here, right? We have a performance notification. So problem, of course, who is behind it all? Jeff Bezos, even though he's no longer directly at Amazon, but Jeff Bezos has caused our suspended listing. So how do we actually go about resolving this? So this is going to be kind of the exact process that our agents go about from a high level to resolve a listing suspension. So the first thing that we want to do is assess, right? So stop, take a step back, don't immediately run around freaking out. Take a step back and assess the situation. So you're going to want to gather any information, any emails you received or performance notifications. I also like to take a moment here to just shout out that you should definitely always get your category listing report. If you've never heard of that, hopefully by now you have, but if you have never heard of that, it's a report that you can download from Seller Central that will pretty much spit out an Excel file with all of the products and some details about them that you currently have in your account. This comes in handy down the road because a lot of times you will need to make maybe updates to listings, and that a lot of that's going to be done via a flat file. So having this category listing report is a great way to be ready for those instances. So go grab that after this presentation if you have not already. But again, just to take a step back here. So gather all the information, right? And then we do like to do one thing, and this is obviously going to vary depending on what the issue is, but take a long shot approach. Especially with listing suspensions, sometimes we do see that this works, where essentially we'll go and raise a long shot support case to Amazon. So we open a seller support case and literally say, ask them what they think is wrong or what is going on with the issue. Now, of course, we know Amazon, 95% of the time, they're going to come back with a canned response. We call it copy paste hell, or they're going to give us some nonsense. However, we do get 5% of the responses actually will give us either some kind of information that we can go and run with, or in some cases, we've actually seen them resolve some issues. Obviously, that does not happen very often, but it is a pleasant surprise when it does. But all of this is also to help us kind of read between the lines, right? Amazon is vague in some cases, so they don't directly tell us every single reason something happens. It does help to have experience here, but if not, we want to gather all the pieces of kind of the puzzle so that we can try to figure out what's going on and what things we need to do next. So speaking of next, we have troubleshoot. So now that we've kind of figured out what is going on, or we have a good sense, we're now going to need to complete the initial troubleshooting steps. Certainly at this point, it helps to know what are the levers you can pull, right? And that's gonna come with either trial and error and getting that experience yourself, or watching YouTube videos or Google, or it's going to come from you building a team of other people who already have that expertise and really leveraging them, right? Now, a couple examples, there's a bunch of different reasons a listing can be suspended. So high level, I'm just going to touch on a few of these, but if you've received, let's say, a product policy violation, that's caused your suspension. Normally, you're going to have to go in and sanitize your listing. So taking out all those naughty words that Amazon may not like, right? Antibacterial or something like that. You can do this either by a manual update or using that category listing report and then getting a flat file template and uploading a flat file to make that update. So you're going to go and execute on that, right? You're going to make the updates to sanitize your listing in that case. If you have an authenticity complaint, you are going to normally need to provide some sort of invoices to prove that your product is authentic. I do like to say also, just a reminder here, remember the person on the other end is reviewing probably hundreds or thousands of these a day. So I like to make sure to take a moment and annotate those invoices. Really make it easy for that person to read exactly what information they need to complete their investigation to prove your product's authentic, right? So normally that's going to be the supplier information, call out the product, and all of that kind of stuff. So once you got that, you've annotated them, go and upload them in your Seller Central account. If you have an IP violation, reach out to the brand owner. If you have a product safety issue, you're going to need to go ahead and prepare your plan of action and actually submit that to appeal the decision, right? And if last but not least here, if you have a hazmat issue, go ahead and double check, make sure you don't have any hazardous ingredients. And then you're either going to prepare an SDS form or an SDS exemption sheet and submit that information to Amazon to get it reviewed and resolved. Now, more often than not, again, remember, these are very broad steps here. Of course, there's certainly nuances, but let's say we've gone and done whatever the troubleshooting step was. So if we submitted a plan of action, we've, maybe made a flat file upload, we've submitted some invoices. I like to say this is where really there's step 2B, right? Which is troubleshoot some more. So if Amazon kicks back whatever that thing was, then you might need to resubmit, whether it's you forgot to put the big red arrows on your invoices and call them out. So you need to now do that and resubmit the invoices. Maybe you submitted a flat file and it went through, but the listing is still not showing any updates. Well, in that case, one of the things that works very often is to do a full delete relist, right? This can be a very scary thing to do your first time. I was terrified the first time I did this, but it gets easier after a while. And essentially what you're going to do is delete the listing out of your Seller Central account, wait 24 hours, and then re-upload your flat file to re-upload the listing and hopefully trigger the changes that you want to be made to go through. So essentially troubleshoot some more. And then from there, let's say it still doesn't work. Now, hopefully by now we have a good percentage of the time, this is going to trigger something to resolve our issue depending on what's going on. But this is really where now we would need to move to the next stage, which is escalate. So we're rolling up our sleeves and we're digging in, right? This is where we are going to get on the phone with seller support. And this is generally the fastest way to resolve issues. Certainly not always available depending on what the issue is, but we're opening cases, we're getting on the phone with seller support, and we're putting in that time investment to really escalate this issue, right? Of course, if you've been around the block with Amazon, you know that this can be a frustrating process. Unfortunately, we all have to go through kind of the same routes. We also have to work with the same system that is Amazon. So remember the person on the other end, you might be 2 hours deep in a call and a call gets dropped. It's happened a ton of times. So call. You do need to put that time investment in. If it's not going to be you, it's got to be someone else on your team doing it, right? So breakdown of the process real quick. So just to pull this all together. So step 1, we assessed what was going on. So stop, evaluate what's going on, read between the lines, gather your information, take that long shot support case. Next, troubleshoot. So now that we know where to go, we need to actually go and pull the levers and do the necessary actions. So submitting the flat file or the invoices, uploading the flat files. If some of those get kicked back or we have any issues, we might need to go to step 2B to troubleshoot some more. So maybe that's deleting a listing and doing a full re-upload. Maybe that's annotating the invoices because we forgot and re-uploading them, right? And if none of that stuff works, move on to step 3, escalate, call, and wait till you get that Amazon rep that really can assist you. Now, why am I presenting all this, right? This might not seem like this is anything that's earth-shattering, groundbreaking, but what I like to do and why I kind of, say that this is an important thing is because I want to call out that there is no magic pill here. What our ethos is that if we can actually be the ones that tell Amazon how to solve the issue and then give them the paper trail to show them what we've already done, it's going to speed up the entire process. So by doing this process where we do assess, then troubleshoot, and finally escalate, we actually can turn the entire issue resolution process on its head. Now, if you're just doing this, for 1 or 2 issues, maybe it doesn't seem like it's going to save you a ton of time. But as your team grows, as your business scales, and you're doing this on a broader scale, if you built in this framework, it's going to start stacking up and really saving time across the board for your team. The reason this is because if you were to do the assess stage and then immediately try to start opening phone support cases, what's going to happen? You're going to get on calls with Amazon. They're going to tell you, great, I need you to submit that invoice you haven't submitted yet. I need you to try submitting a flat file. They're going to tell you all the troubleshooting steps that you haven't done already, or they might even tell you the wrong ones. And so now you have to get off the phone and go spend time doing them and then get back on the phone. So by flipping the whole process on its head, instead we're giving them all of the paper trail when we get on the phone. So we can give them the batch IDs or the proof that we've submitted that plan of action, and then tell them, we need you to now take it and escalate this step further and get it resolved, right? So a few things here to consider, right? As we know, of course, this is going to be a lot easier if you have experience. It doesn't mean that you as a business owner necessarily need that experience yourself. Of course, there's a time and a place for that. In the early stages of my Amazon business days, I liked getting my hands dirty and learning this stuff. However, you might not want to do that, or you have too many hats to wear to do that yourself, right? But if you don't know what levers to pull, then you're going to either spend a lot of time learning and Googling and finding YouTube videos when that issue is very urgent for you and doing it yourself, or you're going to need to go and hire people that have the expertise and manage them to make sure that they're resolving this problem. The other big thing here, Amazon is changing constantly. If you're following any of the amazing speakers here on LinkedIn or wherever else, a lot of them will share updates, and they're at a breakneck speed, right? They're coming every single week. So that means that either you yourself or your team needs to be on top of these changes to know kind of what to do and what new things are rolling out to actually grow and scale and keep up with your business. And this ultimately all boils down to you cannot do all of this stuff yourself, right? Maybe in the early days you can, but as you grow, it becomes very, very challenging. So that leads me to part 2. So let's talk a little bit about getting extra support without the drama. So some do's and don'ts for growing your team. As I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, now I have the privilege of getting to talk to a lot of Amazon business owners, both sellers, agencies, aggregators. And these are some of kind of the common things that I see is one, they wait way too long to actually go and start thinking about building their team out. They tried to maybe be that small, lean 2-person, 1-person team. And then they have a listing that gets shut down and they can't figure it out. And now it's costing them a lot of money and it's too late, right? The other thing we see, they don't know what their business needs are. So understanding your business needs, where you're at in kind of your business growth, is ultimately going to help dictate kind of what type of support you need. So, if you're not good at PPC, for example, and you really want to scale your business, maybe you need to go and find someone who's an expert at advertising. Clarity on what needs to actually get delegated. So there's a lot of different things that can come up, inventory management, graphic design. Again, we touched on already, PPC. So what are the types of things that need to get delegated? And then how do you actually go and do them? Next, the challenges with building the actual team. So when I first hired my first freelancer, this was years ago now, I thought that I was going to hire one person and they would know everything. And I was very naive, by the way, as you can tell, and all my problems would be resolved. I actually found out very quickly that I gave myself pretty much a second job on top of the job that I already had. So when hiring, a lot of times we see these kind of common themes that, first, you're ending up actually upskilling and spending a lot of time to guide that team member or that freelancer and train them, right? You normally end up spending, if they're not a absolute beast, time micromanaging them to actually get problems done. No one's going to love your business like you do as a business owner. And you might not always have transparency, especially kind of with the freelancer world. If you have someone that's just working maybe part-time, maybe you're a remote setting, it's hard to always know exactly what they're working on. And ultimately what this means is this can lead to a lot of wasted time, right? Time and money that's spent, going through the hiring and training process, managing people, and, hopefully not, but does happen, firing people and starting the process all over again. Ultimately, this is opportunity cost, right? And we want to try to avoid that. Really, at the end of the day, it's very simple. We just need experience and we need numbers. The challenge is obviously that this can be not the easiest to access at various stages of your growth on Amazon, but we're trying our best to find a way or a solution to get access to a larger team, an expert team, and one that you as a business can reasonably afford, right? So the benefits, when you do find this kind of solution or this kind of whatever the solution may be at the stage you're at, you're ultimately going to get redundancy built in. So you don't want to rely on an individual. You want to rely on a system that has redundancy built in. So if someone's out sick or if there's an issue they don't know how to resolve, you have another person there that can actually support you, right? Scalability, you're going to grow on Amazon, especially if you're here watching all of the awesome presentations here. You're hungry, you want to grow your business, you're going to grow. And that means you need something that can grow and scale with you. And expertise. Ultimately, again, Amazon's changing quickly. You need a team that is going to be staying on top of all of the different things that are happening in the Amazon ecosystem and experience with dealing with them, right? So what does a team look like? It can take a lot of different forms, and unfortunately, we don't have a ton of time to dive super deep on this today. But highlighting some of the common ones, it could be a freelancer or a group of freelancers. It could be that you're looking to bring on in-house staff members or employees. Maybe you're looking for an agency, maybe just to do your PPC, maybe a full service agency, or some kind of combination, right? There can be different solutions that work for you at different stages of your journey. And so kind of the next two questions that come to mind, are how do you know which option's right for you? And how do you choose what things to actually delegate and what to keep in-house? And they kind of fold into each other. So in this next part here, we're going to actually do what we call an Amazon Seller Central gap review. So this is something that we do with our clients. Essentially, we're applying a consulting principle to our Amazon business lens. Now, I'm just going to be speaking in regards to kind of Amazon, but of course, you can take this and apply it to any your e-commerce business as a whole, or really anything. So if you're selling on, through Shopify and Walmart, maybe you want to do this and include those as well. But for the sake of this presentation, I'm just going to focus on Amazon. So what's the goal here? The goal is really for you to kind of take a step back and evaluate where you're at right now. So what are you doing on Amazon? What's your Amazon presence like? Sit down, think, and I like to carve out about an hour to do this generally. And you can spend more or less time certainly than that, but think about what your goals are, right? What are your revenue goals or your targets for, let's say, the next 3, 6, or 12 months, maybe 3 years, 5 years? And then what are the logical steps to achieve those goals? The gap review is going to help with that. So we're going to get into that in a second here. It's also going to give you a fresh perspective. So we're trying to take our emotion out of this and ultimately get you an unbiased view on kind of what you're doing now, what's working and what's not. And last but not least, identify the things that you can and should be outsourcing or delegating, and the things that you should or want to keep doing yourself. And from there, you can actually implement a triage system, which is really going to help map out where to go from here, right? So let's dive into this. So the first part is obviously the current state. So we're looking at our Seller Central account, and we're just going to go through and assess everything, right? We want to look at things like, our FBA settings, our backend, our account health, our listings. Do we need to maybe update our graphics on our listings? Are we missing A+ content? Do we have listing errors like suspensions, suppressions, buy box issues? What are we doing with marketing? Are we running advertising campaigns? Are we taking advantage of things like coupons around Prime Day? We know that's coming up soon. Do we have a Prime Day plan? This can be really anything within your Amazon account, but literally go, take a piece of paper, Notion, your iPad, and just start bulleting these things out. So all of the, potential issues and opportunities, you're going to just make a list of those. Don't be afraid to put too many down. I like to kind of consider this a brainstorming or brain dump. So put as much as you can. And expansion opportunities is the last one I didn't mention here as well. So are you expanding to new markets or new platforms? Okay, once you have that, so the next thing we want to do is to now go through each of those bullet points that we've just written out and essentially give each one a score. I like to do it on a 1 to 10 scale of what the impact is if we were to address this issue or this opportunity. So go through, take a moment to do that. And then after you do that, one other thing I really like to call out at this point is think about the things that you personally really like doing. Maybe you love doing the graphic design, or maybe you love doing keyword research or copywriting, and what are the things that you actually hate doing? The reason this is important is because when we think about delegating and getting things off your plate, you ultimately want to get kind of both the things that you really hate doing or just that you're not an expert at doing out of your realm, unless there's a reason for you to keep them. For me, that was getting accounting, finance immediately off my plate. I hated that stuff, did not want to deal with it, right? So that was definitely something I was looking to actually delegate as quickly as possible. And ultimately, once you've kind of gone through this step, the goal is that you're going to kind of take the stress out of not knowing. So you're going to now know all the things that really you need to get done within your business. Doesn't mean, and you might be overwhelmed because maybe your list is very long, or maybe it's very short and you know exactly where to go from here. But ultimately, we're taking the stress out of this because we now know exactly what we need to deal with, right? So from there, what we're going to do next is a cost and time analysis. So we're going to go through and evaluate for each one of those things. How much time would this take to fix? Whether it's to improve that or fix that issue, or maybe to take advantage of an opportunity, like how much time would it take, for example, to redo all the graphics for our main images on our products, or to go and actually implement an advertising campaign. Then from there, how much is it going to actually cost us, right, to implement this fix? Maybe if we're doing advertising, we now need to set aside an advertising budget. And maybe we also need to set a budget for an agency that we're going to bring on. Graphic design, same deal. These are just examples, of course. And then from there, check this against kind of the impact. Certainly think about it. If you have, let's say, a low impact issue, that's probably going to be something you don't really want to focus on. If you have a listing that never sells and it's currently suppressed, that's probably not something you really want to worry about or deal with right now. So obviously think about that. Make sure you're thinking about the things that are the highest impact. So that's going to go into the priority, right? So now that we have that, think about what are the things that we need to prioritize and work on right now. So what are the things that are going to have the biggest impact for the lowest, ideally for the lowest cost and time effort. This is essentially how you're going to go about triaging and determining the things that you need to start with. And you can literally build a list and run it down. We've used this with clients, both at SellerCandy and previously in the agency world for years now to actually help them with their decision-making process and really identify the things that are the most critical for them to grow and scale on Amazon. And we've seen a lot of success with this as well. So you can take it, steal it from us, and go and do this, just carve an hour out of your day and go look at your business and think about it for you. So once you've finished, really what you'll have is kind of a fresh perspective where you're at right now. Because you kind of have set and identified what your goals are. And now with the triage system and identifying the priority and everything else and impact, you have actually a kind of stepping or a roadmap actually to achieve those goals, right? And by taking this, you can now run with it. Ultimately, it can make a huge impact to your business. And you can also now address the delegation piece. So going about building your team and delegating those things that you do not want to do or that are high priority that you need to give to someone else on your team, right? So we've gone over, the framework for troubleshooting issues as they arise. We've talked briefly a little bit about building your actual team and kind of the components and do's and don'ts there. And then we've addressed, obviously, the gap analysis to kind of identify how to get to that next level. So one thing that we're now going to go over, so I mentioned at the beginning of this, we do have a really exciting offer. This is actually a newer service of ours, but essentially the goal here is that we want to make it accessible or make our team accessible for you, no matter what stage you're at in your Amazon selling journey. So we've found that from talking to most of our sellers, the average small, medium-sized seller is spending 10 to 15 hours a week building or just managing their Seller Central tasks. Now, this obviously can go up, down, depending on complexity and where you're at. I know there's a Jungle Scout stat that said about 39% of Amazon sellers are also working a full-time job. So if you're a full-time job and moonlighting to build your Amazon business, you need as much time and support as you can get so that you really can get to that stage where you can grow. It can be challenging there for a while, right? So with SellerCandy, we mentioned it earlier, but we have a team of 70-ish agents now. Essentially, you can get access to our team. So our team makes it really easy because we have redundancy. We have a big team that has interfaced and actually hands-on experience with 200 plus Amazon accounts. And a lot of these guys and gals are former Amazon seller support staff members. So what this means for you is that you don't actually have to be the one that's going out and hiring and training and recruiting and managing people. We're taking all of that off of your plate. We also have a very cool, easy to use, what we call our Candy Control Center, essentially a dashboard, a portal that you can actually track tasks or questions that you've submitted to us. And this is totally scalable and builds in that redundancy for you. So if you're a new seller and just getting started, you are totally fine to get this support from our team. And this will grow as you grow. And likewise, if you're already a very large or established seller and you're looking to get to the next level, we work with a ton of very, very big brands, and we can support you at that end of the equation too. We also help with a couple things like data and reporting. We do some reimbursement work. And important to note, we can help in any marketplace. We have a lot of clients that are in the European marketplaces, certainly North America, and really every other marketplace in between. And we know Amazon can be complex, right? So we know if you're a newer seller and you do not have issues yet, take a second and pat yourself on the back, enjoy it. Because they will come, they're inevitable. And when they do come, or even now, it can be tough to find the right support. Fortunately, we know there's a lot of great speakers, both here in the event and online. There's a lot of amazing information out there. The challenge is that sometimes it can be a overwhelm, right? You can be drowning in the information, or you can reach this point where if you've had a listing suspended and you're freaking out, you're now trying to do just-in-time learning. Not the best time to do just-in-time learning, right? So again, you need access to that team of experts now before issues arise so that you're prepared. It doesn't matter what stage you're at. So with SellerCandy, with this new offer that we have, essentially, we're going to give you the ability to actually add expertise to your team without all the hassle of hiring. If you already have a specific issue, so if, as I've been going through this presentation, you have an issue in mind and you just need help getting support on that, we're here to help you. if you already know the next step, so let's say you've completed that gap analysis, you know where to go, but you know that you or your team need some support or just need that extra bandwidth, SellerCandy is a great solution. And the offer that I'm about to mention here is actually awesome to give them answers to questions as they come up. And we're out of the box. We're not going to break the bank. So we're a very affordable service that you can literally access us and get started within 24, 48 hours and have a team there to work as an extension of your team. So with that being said, all of this, that leads me to kind of our newer service and a really cool offer that we have. So we've just launched recently what we call our Ask SellerCandy service. Essentially, it's going to allow you to access our team of 70 plus Amazon experts. This is, again, the people that are ex-Amazon seller support staff members in most cases, or people that have been in the trenches working with clients of all different types, all different niches for years. And you literally get to come in and ask questions directly to them through our portal and get real answers. So it doesn't matter what stage you're at. That's the awesome part here is you can be a brand new seller. And if you know that coming up, you're going to have some questions about a product launch, you can ask those to our team and we'll go and actually get you real answers and real support. Or if you're at the other end of the equation, you're having a big issue happen, or you're in account suspension, we're also there for that as well. Obviously, knock on wood, we don't want you to have those, but we know they happen. And the cool thing here, this is a super easy option for getting information when and how you need it. So again, you can get the support that you need without scouring through Google or YouTube videos. You literally have an expert at your fingertips that you can reach out to. So essentially, it is a free service. So that's kind of the best part here is, again, I'm not selling anything here. It's currently something that we've just launched recently. So it'll be free for your first 6 months. To be honest, we haven't decided if we're going to start charging for it. So you just need to scan the QR code or head to the link here at the bottom, sign up for that, and you're immediately going to get access to our team. Essentially, you get access to a ticketing portal where you can literally submit questions, get responses, and ask follow-up questions to our team members. And again, it's free. So the really nice thing here is it is a great option if you are a newer seller or a scaling medium-sized seller, or you have a team of people and you want that extra support and want to tap into our knowledge base. It's a free solution and you can literally go sign up for this right now. So that's what I have for you guys. This is an exclusive for anyone here at the virtual summit. So definitely take a look at that. And if you do need help beyond that, we do have, again, a team and a service that can help you meet those additional needs and act as an extension of your operations arm. We have a lot of great client testimonials, and feel free, you can always reach out to me as well. So I'll put this back up for a second here, but we're reaching the end. Just some parting thoughts. Again, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for attending this. I hope that you've had some valuable takeaways from this session. And if not this session, I know plenty of the other sessions. You can reach me directly by going over to SellerCandy, our website, and or shooting an email to sales@SellerCandy. I see most of those coming through. So feel free to reach out. I love talking to sellers, learning about your business, learning about what's working, what's not, and brainstorming with you. So feel free to reach out there as well. But anyway, that's it. So again, Ask SellerCandy. It's free. Go sign up if you want access to our team. Again, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you for attending this event. And that's the best part about being in this space is there's so many cool, very accessible people, and it's such a cool community. So I thank you guys for being a part of it. And feel free to reach out if you need anything else. So with that, I hope you have a great rest of this virtual summit, and I look forward to seeing you at some point down the road. Cheers.